Welcome back to the UFL on HDNet.
Welcome back to the Citrus Bowl as we near kickoff between the Florida Tuskers taking on the Sacramento Mountain Lions. As we talked about earlier, must win for the 1-3 Mountain Lions. Huge game, the start of 3 straight at home for Florida. Looking back last week, Paul, we have talked it to death. I'm sure Denny Green has seen it to death about the 6 turnovers. But there was a huge bright spot that was like old times last week for Sacramento in the running game.
Corey Ross, ladies and gentlemen, is back. You know, the first 3 games he had a total of 83 yards rushing. In this football game, he averaged 8 yards a carry, and he gained 71 yards on the ground, and he also caught 10 passes. This guy is a great football player. He had one mishap, a hiccup in this entire game. He fumbled going into the end zone, almost going in the end zone. But you just look at what he did in that ball game. Here's a guy, he can't carry this football team. Culpepper's got to do some things. But if they can get the running game out of him that they got a week ago, Culpepper should do fine.
And as Dennis Green repeatedly pointed out to us yesterday when we're all sitting around talking to him, the team last year, when they were the California Redwoods, played a much better second half than the first half, and actually Ross was a better runner later in the season. He's hoping now at Sacramento everything will look like that. He knows it certainly has to get that way.
And so everybody just understands one of the biggest problems they have in this football league is offensive linemen. And if these guys block the way they blocked for him last week, look out, Florida.
All right, let's check in on the sideline once again. And Paul Crane. Paul, I hope you can hear us in what has to be the loudest public address system in the UFL.
What? No, it's all good. I can hear you just fine, Kenny. I'm here with the Tuskers Director of Business Management, Windsor Hall. And Wendy, for your team, which played in a couple of different cities in the state last year, but is now settled on Orlando, what are some of the challenges of having a team in a city that has so much to do?
Well, first of all, the challenge is the fact that we do get to play all our games here, so that's the great thing about it. But this is a tough town. There's a lot of entertainment products here. You've got a great university out here, has a great football program going for themselves. We've had to play on 3 Thursday nights, or will play on 3 Thursday nights. That's been a little difficult. But I tell you, we've done a lot of grassroots marketing. We got out into the community, made some relationships, and it's going to come over time. I think the big thing is people have seen this as the second year of this league. They noticed, committed to come back next year. And, of course, the recent announcement of Joe Theismann joining us as president and part owner has really created a lot of buzz in Orlando.
And that's a name people recognize. You referenced UCF here in Orlando, but the Notre Dame guys lent his name as president and part owner. So what are some of the things Joe Theismann's involvement you hope to see happen with this team?
Well, obviously, he's going to get a seat at the table now, where the Tuskers, you know, a startup with a young league. We got the Orlando Magic here. You got a lot of prominent players in the sports scene. But all of a sudden, we'll get a seat at the table. We'll get into those meetings, and that'll help a lot. Joe being able to call on CEOs around town and say, hey, guys, this helps the community. This is economic development, and actually get out with those people and say, hey, we need your help. You know, buy 100 season tickets, have a night out for the company. And I think, you know, a lot of people are going to take Joe's phone call.
Well, we wish you and Joe Theismann and the Tuskers the best of luck. Thank you.
We appreciate it very much. Thank you.
One guy that needs no luck is Ron Kruk, who's always game ready, and we here at HDNet know that he delivers more hits than he receives as we send it to him now on the other sideline.
Well, I appreciate that, Paul. There's no hotter topic in football right now than the NFL's decision to impose massive fines and suspensions to players who are delivering helmet-to-helmet blows. Sacramento head coach Denny Green has an interesting theory on why these hits are taking place so much. Coach Green told us yesterday he believes the smaller shoulder pads players are wearing are forcing them to make more tackles leading with their helmets. Now, today's shoulder pads are built for speed. They're very, very light and very, very light, no matter who's wearing them. All the players from offensive linemen to wide receivers are wearing this same type of shoulder pads. Gone are the days when the offensive lineman or defensive lineman had those massive, bulky shoulder pads. Now check this out. These are shoulder pads for an offensive lineman. Compare them to shoulder pads for a wide receiver. There's not much of a size difference, and really there's no difference in the amount of padding. It's a very interesting take from Coach Green because you just don't see as many players making tackles using the shoulder pads. I'm sure our All-Pro Paul Maguire has a take on this subject as well. Kenny?
I like that. Yeah, Ron, it actually looks like it's wider, the receiver's pads. And it reminds me of that great comic routine, my shoulder, my pads.
Let me tell you something, Ronnie. When I played 50 years ago, we put on all the padding we could possibly find, and then we rented some because they didn't give us enough. So these guys are crazy. If I had a chance to put the big shoulder pads on, I'm wearing them.
Yeah, good stuff, Ron. And we were talking about that. Denny Green brought it up. It made sense. You aren't seeing as many guys. He cited one of the greats in the secondary of all time, Ronnie Lott. So you're not seeing those hits with the shoulder and the chest like you used to. And that's why there's been some controversy about some helmet use, and not just in the NFL, but we've seen a few licks in the UFL.
Well, if you want to see them get rid of head-to-head contact, take the face mask off the helmet, because this thing is a weapon. They got that big face mask on, and they launch with it. You put that 1 bar or 2 bars on that helmet, you watch the number of guys that launch with their head. None.
All right, we're getting near kickoff. The music is pumped up. The girls are dancing. The Tuskers, Mountain Lions, are just minutes away.